tend to be in quite remote areas, many different countries, but with lots of logistical challenges. One of those obviously is a lack of sort of grid infrastructure, power infrastructure. Very rarely are they in the right place from a grid perspective. So what Aggreko does to address that is we deploy generator capability or power capability across generators and hybrid renewable solutions to get the best mix and the best solution for the mines, which often will depend on things like fuel availability, logistics for fuel, what the weather's like if it's renewables, and those things are quite a complicated mix depending on the location. And what we're doing is delivering what we call a hybrid solution. So we'll deploy thermal generators along with renewable solutions and batteries, and we control the mix of those production of power to give the optimum outcome for the mine. And the mine obviously has lots of other challenges around logistics and governments, but that's really where we focus. So it's one of the biggest costs for a mine. Mines are running 24/7. As I said, they tend to be in remote locations, so energy costs are quite high generally. Along with probably people is probably the other big costs they face. So really what we're doing is looking at how we deliver long-term solutions to mines to give them the most efficient operation. And because we're a specialist in providing power, we can bring together all our capabilities to give the most effective and cost-effective solution. We're now starting to combine renewables into that. So we do have to use thermal because the mines need to run 24/7 and renewables don't operate 24/7. But we're bringing renewables into that mix so we get the most efficiency out of the power generation, and we control the balance between the different sources to give the best outcome and a steady output for the mine. So that's a cost thing. Of course, there's also the environmental impact of, when we bring renewables in, reducing fuel use and reducing carbon emissions. So our solutions are very flexible. We have a whole range of capabilities, fuel types, sizes of generators, batteries, renewable deployments. So what we can do is provide the right solution at the right time. So if it's at the start of a mine when they're starting to build a camp, we can deploy temporary solutions. And then once the site is sort of ready to go into full production, we can deploy our longer term solutions. So a really good example of this is the recent deal we've done with the Resolute mine in Mali, the Syama mine. So we've been there for a few years with sort of short-term diesel generators. And now we're deploying a long-term, sort of 15-year contract for larger engines that provide much more efficiency. And we're combining that with batteries and solar in that case to give a really cost-effective solution for their 24/7 operations. And their mine is fully automated, so they're absolutely reliant on a reliable power supply. We take that problem away for them, we operate it, make sure it's available, and we're a strategic partner for them in that process. So our first deployment was on a mine in Eritrea, which we did a couple of years ago. So that is a diesel-based power supply combined with solar arrays. And the solar basically reduces the cost of power generation. That's been running for about a year or so. Obviously the Resolute example I've mentioned. There are other mines where we're talking to them about adding renewables to the mix, but we do across many countries in Africa offer solutions depending on fuel availability. So we've recently set up for a mine in Sudan. We're talking to a mine in Guinea. In more developed countries, we do shorter term solutions. So South Africa, obviously with the load shedding, we're providing some reliability so the mine can cope when the grid goes away. So there's a whole range of examples that we deploy across the African continent.